Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn archaeology. Today, archaeology. And after which we're going to do leg injury prevention training. And if you participate in the leg injury prevention training, that is at your own risk. Now this is part 4 or 5. We already did it all, and now we want to make it as a little presentation what we learned about archaeology. Okay, archaeology is a professional looking at relics from the past, old temples, old vases, plates, pottery, armor, or also human bones, which are found in the ground. These are archaeologists, and they're doing archaeology. And they're oftentimes finding something, and then they are very carefully digging it up in the soil. The deeper something is lying, maybe we should just start the presentation. And they also writing carefully down where we find something that maybe helps them to know where it all is. And they're using, to find the place where maybe something is lying, they're using, for example, aerial photography with the planes, looking at some ground something, the geophysical survey process. Geophysical service, for example, with metal detectors and sending the electronic signals out. And that already said. And we also use the radiocarbon method and the potassium argon. Radiocarbon method, potassium argon. Potassium argon. And with the argon, the rocks around it. It was used a couple of times in Africa, for example. And they also getting help from other people, for example, from forensic scientists. They're looking at bones and try to find out at what cause they might have died. And what we found, for example, are pottery, plates, and vases, and old lamps, oil lamps, and statues. Statues that we found. But I can say that we found also armor and so on. Armor, swords, and jewelry. Let's try it. I start the second camera. And let's try to make a little presentation about what archaeology is. So this is according to Miles Kelly of World History, Early Civilization, Gods and Religion, Battles and War, the Age of Empire. So it is Miles Kelly, or is it the author, or is it the Miles Kelly Publishing Ltd. Editorial Director Belinda Gallagher, Art Director Joe Brewer, Editor Stuart Cooper, Editorial Assistant Bethany Bourne, Cover Design Simon Lee, Designer David McCombs, Indexer Charlotte Marshall, Production Manager Elizabeth Collins. Reprographics Anthony Campbell, Rick Keller, Stephen Davis, Liberty Newton, Ian Pawney. Assets Manager Mervyn Ellish. I think the most part of the text would be Editorial Director. It's not art, it's not editorial director. I don't know, we're gonna say Miles Kelly World History. John Fountain and Victory Parker. Now who is it? Consultant Richard Thames. Miles Kelly is just the firm or whatever. It is not. Okay, we're going to say Miles Kelly's World History. Now, who is John Fountain and Victoria Parker? I'm not going to say it. I have a suspicion that I actually really do. He has an index. That's interesting. Okay. Miles Kelly World History. I still need a bookmark. Archaeology is the professional name for professionally looking at relics of the past, at vases, pottery, plates, bones, jewelry, whatever relics of the past, also temples and buildings. Archaeology. Archaeologists are the people doing archaeology. And they're using aerial photography, for example, to maybe find things from the past, relics. These are oftentimes deep in the sea or underground. And they're using aerial photography. They're flying with a plane over the area, and then they're looking if they see that at some places there are patterns visible where the grass is growing differently, because there's maybe an old wall of an old house standing. And when they, maybe after they got all the permission, dig there and look then very carefully what is there. And when they dig there very carefully, they're writing exactly down where they have found something. If it's maybe just 2-3 meters apart, but it could be important. Now, if it's a whole old house, we're finding maybe here all the plates, or here something else. And now it maybe helps them to know something about the family structures or the social structures that they had 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago. We are also using geophysical surveys. We are sending out electro signals, and then they are repelled differently if there's a wall out of stones as if there would be just a bit soil. And we're using, for example, the radiocarbon method. And with that, they can look at things which once lived, which are also cloaks, because cloaks are made in the time of, probably in the time, out of plants, and plants lived once. And we're looking then how much carbon is in them, and then we can date how old that thing is. And we're using the potassium argon method, and with that they can look at the rocks surrounding the relics if they found how old the rock is. Now that helps them to study how the people lived, so archaeologists. And when they found things, they found many different things. For example, they found pottery, vases and plates, they found oil lamps and statues and armor and jewelry. A lot of different stuff. And this is according to the Miles Kelly World History, page 34 and 35. No, it was a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to stop the second camera. And that's the end for now, at least for archaeology, the archaeology part of the archaeology. We will continue the next part of archaeology, with whatever it is, not with that. Now, if you're here for archaeology, so the bigger series, then you can go directly to the next archaeology series. We're going to do now the leg injury prevention training. If you participate in the leg injury prevention training, this is the honest. We're doing the mushroom, we're bringing one foot up and we're pointing the foot. We're bringing the leg up and we're pointing the foot. And now the other leg up, point the foot down. And now the crane, take the foot at the ankle and point the foot down. Make first a straight back and now point the knee down to the floor so that we're stretching the quads. The other leg, take it at the ankle, foot, make a straight back and bring the knee down to the floor so that we're stretching the quad muscles. And now we're doing the hiker's hilltop stretch. Here, heel of the foot on the ground and pull the toes in. Bring the foot to the right and pull the toes in. Bring the foot to the left and pull the toes in. Again into the middle, pull the toes in and move the leg from left to right. And on the other leg, pull the toes in. Bring the foot to the right and pull the toes in. To the left and pull the toes in. And in the middle and pull the toes in and move the leg from left to right. And the next exercise, now we're doing one hand on tummy, one on lower back, and we're lifting the leg in a straight line upwards. If the quad muscles cramp, bring the foot up and point the foot down. Bring the leg up and point the foot down. Control with the hands that you have a straight back. Try to bring the leg higher. Flex foot and try to bring the foot higher on the leg. Try to bring the leg higher. And bring it up, point the foot down. And the other foot up in a straight line, flex foot, try to bring the leg higher. Try to bring it higher, and control with the hands but you don't fall back. Try to bring the leg higher, and bring the leg up, and point the foot down. And now for a little more, we pat one leg, one foot points with the toes to the outside, the other one with the heel to the ground, lifting it heel off the ground and placing it again on the ground. So you do a little part again. What did we say to the two methods? Radiocarbon dating. It's a way of dating the remains of once living things from their carbon content. It was the carbon content, okay? This is accurate up to 50,000 years ago. Potassium-argon dating helps to date the rocks, the changing the leg, helps to date the rocks in which relics were found from their potassium and argon content. Human remains in Africa were dated in this way. Potassium-argon method of dating. Aerophotography. Crops and grass will grow differently if the soil is affected by a buried wall or filled-in ditch. And last exercise. Let's do the step. One foot up, down, and up, and down. Flex foot so that it stays the whole time in the air. And now the other one. Foot up, down, and down. Now if you like, you can continue with the stamp, but I think the horse is also possible. Leg in and out, and in and out. Now you can stay with the horse when we're doing in a moment the camel, but first the horse will be on leg. Now we're doing the camel, so you can do the stamp of a horse if it's too much. Knee in and out, but we're going up every time we bring the leg again in and then completely down. One last time, let's hold on to it, and now with the other leg. Now you can stay with one of these three, or you do another one. Swing the leg back. You have a tall standing leg. Foot is flexed, swinging leg. Try not to fall in the abdomen. And we're changing the leg. Tall standing leg. Foot is flexed up, swinging leg. Try not to fall in the abdomen. And last 2 times. And the closing exercise, we're breathing in. Again in. Out. Now we're going to close the legs. And out. That was a leg intervention training. I thank you very much, and until next time.